Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss lesson 10 of your textbook, The Banyan Tree. You know this tree? You know the tree of Banyan, Bargad. Perhaps you have seen. Before you read this lesson, there is something that you should know. Have you seen a mongoose? Yes, you know a mongoose, and you have read a story about him. A house in a house, a farmer brought a baby mongoose in your supplementary reader. Yes, you have read in lesson 9 that a mongoose can fight with and kill a snake. Look at the pictures and read the lines given along with them. First, you can see there is a mongoose, and right hand side there is a cobra, snake, a very dangerous snake. The fight of the cobra and the mongoose is a classic drama often seen in India. Classic means ancient, very old drama often seen in India. And the outcome outcome is result is largely the same. The mongoose is not immune to the venomous bite. Means the mongoose is not immune. Immune means effect to the venomous bite, poisonous bite, but is faster and quicker in motion than the snake. Can you tell me who is quick? Who, you can say mongoose is quick. The cobra assumes a posture of defense and attempts to reach the animal by a sweeping strike. But the quick moving mongoose jumps out of reach and comes at the snake from another direction. Before the snake can get into a striking position again, I think it is clear to you. The mongoose is very quick for his movement, and when the cobra attacks on him, he jumps out of the reach of the cobra and attacks on cobra on from other direction. This constant movement tires and discourages the snake. This regular movement of the mongoose makes tire and discourage to the snake. And the mongoose is finally able to leap, means jump in close and bury its teeth in the snake's neck. Usually, severing the joints of the vertebrate, that is a joint of bones you have studied in your science books. Vertebrate. You must have seen a banyan tree. This is a story about what the author saw as a young boy when he was sitting in. You must have seen a banyan tree. This is a story about what the author saw as a young boy when he was sitting in an old banyan tree in his grandfather's house. Now, your part 1 starts. Though the house and grounds belong to my grandparents, grandparents means grandfather and grandmother. The magnificent old banyan tree was mine, means the excellent old banyan tree was mine. Writer says the house and grounds belong to his grandparents, but the banyan tree was only his, chiefly because grandfather at 65 could no longer climb it. The writer says, the author says that there is a complete ownership on the banyan tree because his old grandfather could not climb in the tree. Its spreading branches, which hung to the ground and took root again. Perhaps you have seen a banyan tree which has many roots. This tree is different from other trees. The roots come out from the branches and again goes up to the ground and takes a hold, forming a number of twisting passages. Twisting means irregular or zigzag passages, ways. Gave me endless pleasure. Among them were squirrels and snails and butterflies. The tree was older than the house, older than grandfather, as old as Dehradun itself. Means it was a very old tree. I could hide myself in its branches behind thick green leaves and spy on the world below. The spy means watch secretly the world below. World below means the area which was there under the tree, the writer says. My first friend was a small grey squirrel. Grey is color, and generally squirrels have grey colors. Writer says, my First friend was a small grey squirrel, arcing his back. Have you heard the word arcing or arc? Yes. His back and sniffing. Sniffing is breathing out into the air. He seemed at first to resent my invasion. Resent means dislike or feel angry about my invasion. Invasion is entry or attack. So, first, the writer says the squirrel seemed at first to resent, means the squirrel disliked the entry of the writer due to his privacy. But when he found that I did not arm myself with catapult or air gun, he became friendly. You know the air gun and other is catapult. And when I started bringing him pieces of cake and biscuit, he grew quite bold and was soon taking morsels from hand. Morsels, a small pieces of food. She started to take from the hands of the author. Before long, he was delving into my pockets. Delving is going deep into my pockets and helping himself to whatever he could find. He was a very young squirrel, and his friends and relatives probably thought him foolish and headstrong for trusting a human. Can you tell me the first form of thought? Yes, think, thought, thought. Writer says probably thought means relatives of the means other squirrels thought him foolish. To whom they thought foolish? The squirrel who was friend of the author. And headstrong means obstinate for trusting a human. The other squirrels thought. In the spring, when the banyan tree was full of a small red figs, what is spring? Spring is a season, spring season, Basant Ritu. The writer says, in the spring, when the banyan tree was full of a small red figs, figs are fruits, birds of all kinds would flock means gather into its branches. The red bottomed bulbul, cheerful and greedy parrots, myna and crows. Squabbling means quarreling with one another. During the fig season, the banyan tree was the noisiest place in the garden. Halfway up the tree, I had built a crude platform. Crude is a rough platform where I would spend the afternoons when it was not too hot. I could read there, propping myself up, means leaning against, propping myself up. That is leaning against a branch, against the tree, with a cushion from the living room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry, Finn, and the story of Dr. Dolittle were some of the books that made up my Banyan Tree library. When I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the leaves at the world below. And on one particular afternoon, I had a grandstand view. Grandstand view is a clear view from the best position. A grandstand is a large covered space with rows of seats for people to watch sports. Of that classic of the Indian wilds, a fight between a mongoose and a cobra. It means the writer saw this fight between a mongoose and the cobra sitting in a banyan tree. The warm breezes of approaching summer had sent everyone, including the gardener, into the house. I was feeling drowsy myself. Drowsy is sleepy myself, wondering if I should go to the pond and have a swim with Ramu and the buffaloes. When I saw a huge black cobra gliding out, gliding means moving smoothly out of a clump of cactus. Clump is group of bushes or trees of cactus. You know, cactus is a desert plant. At the same time, a mongoose emerged. Emerged is came out from the bushes and went straight for the cobra. In a clearing is an open space in a forest where there are no trees. In a clearing beneath the banyan tree, in bright sunshine, they came face to face, बिल्कुल आमने सामने. The cobra knew only too well that the grey mongoose, 3 feet long, was a superb fighter. Superb is excellent fighter, clever and aggressive. But the cobra too was a skillful and experienced fighter. He could move swiftly. Swiftly means fastly, and strike with the speed of light. And the sacks behind his long, sharp fangs. Dear children, sacks is a part of an animal or plant shaped like a bag, and the sacs behind his long, sharp fangs. Fangs are long, sharp teeth of a snake or dog. Fangs were full of deadly poison, very dangerous poison. It, it was to be a battle of champions. Who are champions? The mongoose and the cobra. Where the champions hissing defiance. Defiance is rebellion or resistance. Hissing is a kind of sound. His forked tongue, forked means divided in two parts. His forked tongue, snake, has not a tongue like you and me. It has forked tongue. It is divided in two parts, darting in and out. Darting means move quickly, suddenly, in and out. The cobra raised 3 of his 6 feet off the ground. You can say it is called hood of the cobra. The cobra raised 3 of his 6 feet off the ground and spread his broad spectacled hood. Spectacled is as if wearing glasses spotted with eyes. Chitidar hood. The mongoose bushed his tail. The long hair on his spine stood up, though the combatants, means participants in a fight, were unaware of my presence in the tree. They were soon made aware of the arrival of 2 other spectators. Spectators are those who watch a show, a game, etc. Who were 2 spectators? One was a myna, the other was a jungle crow. They had seen these preparations for battle and had settled on the cactus to watch the outcome. Outcome is result. Had they been content only to watch? Had they been satisfied only to watch? All would have been well with both of them. The cobra stood on the defensive. Swaying slowly from side to side. Swaying means moving slowly from side to side. Trying to mesmerize means here magically persuade. जिसको hypnotize or you can say मंत्रमुग्ध करना. The mongoose into making a false move. But the mongoose knew the power of his opponent's glassy unwinking eyes. Glassy means transparent. Unwinking, completely open eyes, and refused to meet them. Instead, he fixed his gaze at a point just below the cobra's hood and opened the attack. Moving forward quickly until he was just within the cobra's reach, the mongoose made a pretended move, means false move to one side. Immediately, the cobra struck. Struck means attack. His great hood came down so swiftly, fastly, that I thought nothing could save the mongoose. But the little fellow jumped neatly to one side and darted means went away fastly in as swiftly as the cobra, biting the snake on the back and darting away again out of reach. At the same moment that the cobra struck, the crow and the myna hurled means came down themselves at him, only to collide heavily. Collide means टकराने के लिए, heavily in midair, shrieking insults, uttering loudly insults at each other. They returned to the cactus plant. A few drops of blood glistened, means shone on the cobra's back. The cobra struck and missed. Again, the mongoose sprang aside, jumped in and bit. Again, the birds dived at the snake, bumped into each other instead. Bumped means pushed against each other instead and returned shrieking to the safety of the cactus. The third round followed the same course as the first, but with one dramatic difference. The crow and the myna, still determined to take part in the proceedings, dived at the cobra. But this time they missed each other as well as their mark. The myna flew on and reached its perch's place of sitting, but the crow tried to pull up in midair. Pull up is stop in midair and turn back. In the second that it took the bird to do this, the cobra whipped his head back, means moved back suddenly and struck with great force. Struck means attacked with great force. His snout thudding. Snout is the nose and mouth of an animal. Thudding against the crow's body. I saw the bird flung nearly 20 feet across the garden. It fluttered, means flapped wings about for a while, then lay still, means died. The myna remained on the cactus plant, and when the snake and the mongoose returned to the fight, very wisely decided not to interfere again. The cobra was weakening, and the mongoose, walking fearlessly up to it, raised himself on his short legs and with a lightning snap, he jump had the big snake by the snout. The cobra writhed, means twisted the body in pain and lashed, fastened about in a frightening manner, and even coiled itself about the mongoose. But to no avail, means with no success. The little fellow hung grimly, means fiercely, on until the snake had ceased to struggle, stopped to struggle. He then smelt along its quivering length, means trembling length, gripped it round the hood and dragged it into the bushes. The myna dropped cautiously, means with care, to the ground, hopped about, peered, means looked into the bushes from a safe distance, and then, with a shrill cry, means sharp cry of congratulation, flew away. Dear children, this lesson has been written by the famous writer Ruskin Bond. This story has been slightly abridged for you. I think you will read this lesson again and again by yourself so that you may understand this lesson. Next day, we shall discuss the summary and exercises of this lesson. Thank you, children.